Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Infinite Podcast. Man, it's been a hell of a week. There's a lot happening this week. There's a lot been said, a lot been going on. Showcase got announced. That's going to be interesting. And we'll get into all that in a minute. But before we do, Blue, welcome back. How you doing? How's your week been? What have you been up to?
I never go first. What happened?
Oh, you're at the top. I'm just going down the line.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, because we have quite a diverse time zone audience here. It's been a good week, very, very busy. I am headed to Seattle for work next week, and been working on getting the house cleaned up and packing and finishing stuff. But I've been playing the Atlas Trials, which is just still so good, and Fallout 76. And I tried Harold Halibut, which is really cute. It's like a stop motion claymation kind of game, similar to the art style, sort of like Wallace and Gromit, but it's just in this really cool setting. So that's what I've been doing mostly, and of course working on I'm gonna pimp the coins for half a second here. The super
Hang
cool
on.
Fallout coins.
Wow.
And
Keep it up. Put it back up again. Put it back up.
Oh. Yes. Riskit knows I love
That's
it when
beautiful.
he does this. And it's hard to see. My camera doesn't always want
to show us the backside.
Oh, hold up.
Yeah. See, it's got a lot of like layers and stuff. And then for all of you people, there we go. There's the front of the Hellblade. You can see like the people in the trees. And then here's the back. So super
Beautiful.
Yeah,
super
lovely
cool
work. That's some true talent there.
Yep. So that's what I've been working on this week. It's good to be back.
Absolutely, guys, and we're running that giveaway again. Just as Blue's holding that up, type hashtag coins in the chat, and we'll do. I think we're doing 3 this week. So we're doing 3 coins giving away. So yeah, just type hashtag coins in the chat, and we'll give them away at a later minute. Garuda, welcome back. How was your work weeks? How's things been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, life's always busy as usual. Everyone knows what that's like. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'll be back next week as well, if you'll have me. But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time trying to play games, not necessarily much playing. As you guys kind of know, I've been modding New Vegas and Fallout 3. I've been doing that Tale of Two Wastelands huge mod, which is quite an advanced thing for someone like me with very little experience. And I got way in over my head. I spent days, and I think about 241 mods later, I've finally kind of got a game. It's not perfect though. I've got problems with some meshes not loading, and I think it's my load order. And everybody said I'm crazy for going so big so fast, but yeah. But that's been very interesting and a very steep learning curve. But apart from that, I gave that a bit of a rest because I needed a break. My brain was just about to explode. So I'm playing Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. I'm a big fan of like old school Japanese turn-based RPGs, and this is a really good one. So for anyone who likes those kind of games, I highly recommend that. It feels like it's just been taken straight out of the 90s, but just been given like the modern day coat of paint as far as JRPGs go. And yeah, it's just so nostalgic. I love those games. So that's been pretty much what I've been doing.
Yep, went down that modding rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's I'm surprised that I got as far as I did because I'm in too deep now, right? I'm too far to quit, but I just want to play some games, man. So I'm giving it a rest. Like the only problem I've got the Fallout 3 literally running in New Vegas's engine, and there's supposed to be like a train that takes you from one wasteland to the other one, and the story continues as one, and you don't have to make a new character. Plus, it has all these other changes and like cut content from the original game's been restored. Like, it's really amazing. But the only thing is, I've got some meshes and textures missing. So there's some characters walking around with like big exclamation marks here in their chest instead of like bodies. That's the only thing I have missing. So if anyone knows how to fix that, hit me up. But yeah, I don't recommend jumping into it head first if you don't know what you're doing.
PC. Donte, welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
Me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, man. It's been a good week, man. It's been kind of a crazy week. A lot of things happening. A lot of crazy news. I got the what's that? The notification for FanFest. So hopefully they actually select me for once, so I can actually go without having to find a back end way to get in there. No, wait, pause. But yeah, my week's been great, man. I finished the true ending for Dragon's Dogma, I think late last week, and I finally started Fallout 4. So basically, probably like maybe 30 to 45 minutes in it. So that's going to be my first full Fallout game experience in terms of story experience outside of me playing 76. So interested to see how that's going to go. I'm hoping that.
I need to hear everything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping I don't sit there and spoil myself and then basically be on that itch where I'm like, okay, when's the next game going to come out? But yeah, man. Outside of that, man, I'm just happy to be here. So it's good to see everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's always good to see you too. Umbra, welcome back. How's your week been? How was the fix? Fix was good this week, actually. Always get it.
Why do you think it was good? Because you showed up.
Yeah, because
Is that why?
It always helps, right?
You heard how like he said it so surprised. Like, it was good this week, actually. Wait a minute. Wait. What are you trying to say, sir?
Looking for shade where none exists.
Was that a little dig, a low key dig?
That's what it was, subconscious. He didn't even realize it, but I picked up on things. Okay. I'm like, who is that baby?
Baby Garuda.
Hey. Yeah, man, it was a good show. Thanks for coming by the way. And if you have not seen it, shame on all of you for not supporting me. No, but it was a good show. As far as what I have been up to, a bunch of things. I'm still trying to get things situated with the band. We have a show we're trying to plan up, and I actually had a lot of just real life things I was dealing with, but I have been playing Stellar Blade. I was playing a good amount of that, and it's Holly's favorite game right there. And man, I've been enjoying that a lot. As you can see by the facial expressions she's making, she really enjoys that game. It's really, she loves it. Like, thank you, Holly, for introducing me to that and opening my eyes to the greatness of Stellar Blade. And you're right, the costume. Oh yeah, the costume choices are chef's kiss.
Wait, Umbra, do you play in a band?
Yeah, I'm the lead singer. I'm the lead singer. Yeah.
We gotta hear some of those Umbra chops.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Well, wait. Pause.
That's not. If you want to give us a sample, though.
Wait. Pause again.
Bless us, Umbra.
Other than that, I have been much like my brother Donte here, been enjoying the heck out of this beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake when they've been blessing us in real hip hop with these back and forth. Oh man, Kendrick released a track today. It's still on my mind, man. I'm still hearing Al Green. Still hearing that. Oh, beautiful, man. Other than that, just I know Riskit's not used to soul, so he's like, "What is this urban sound?" It's urban.
We're gonna slowly convert you, my brother.
It's not Carl Urban, it's urban. But yeah,
urban's fine. It's who's the singing. It's
it's sounds like hate. But no, other than that, happy to be here with you guys. Happy for excited to talk about the topics today with you all.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. My week's been pretty interesting. I'm sort of losing my family for 3 months. They're heading over to the UK. And I will follow them in a couple of months, in 3 months, and probably go check out Gamescom. I have entered the competition to go to FanFest. So if that pulls through for me, I'll go, but very unlikely. So, but fingers crossed. But otherwise, I'm not going to make it to FanFest this year. And that is our first topic. But before we jump into that topic, let me just read off, because Biff Rinaldi popped through last week with the $5 super chat, and I didn't get a chance to read it out. He said, I know I'm super late, but I just rolled credits on Miles Morales on PC. Looking forward to Spider-Man 2 so I can play that one with my Xbox controller. Lol. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still, even though that DualSense is way a huge improvement over the DualShock, it's still uncomfortable. And I don't know if it's because, I think it's because it's symmetrical, right? Because it's got those two thumbsticks that are like
sticks are in the wrong
directly
place,
across
bro.
each other. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right? So I don't know, it gives me cramps. So, you know, we got another super chat here from Lord Starkiller, and he says the Xbox Showcase should give us looks at some great upcoming Xbox first-party studio games like COD, Golf War, Indiana Jones, and Avowed. Hope to also see Stalker 2 and 33 Immortals. Yeah, I think we're very likely to see 33 Immortals. That actually showed at the indie showcase. So if we don't, that'll likely be the reason. Definitely going to see Indiana Jones. You're definitely going to see COD. Stalker 2, I hope so. I hope they do a decent showing for that. There's a lot to talk about with this. I've got some opinions. Before I do that, we've got a $20 super chat from Lotus Esprit. Really appreciate you. And they say, drum roll, that blue number. Oh, the love. It's so sweet, you know? So look, let's jump into this. Oh, they're great. They're great.
Somebody has to love me.
We love
And
you.
my
We love
keyboard.
you. That's and your keyboard. That's why we, you know,
Holly,
shovel.
even though you bully us, we still love you. Even though you
Wow.
bully us,
That's the only reason you love me. You like.
we come back for the pain.
So we did have a little chat before we started the show, like because I've been putting the topics together more recently, and it seems a little bit light to some people, but there's a reason for that, right? So I sort of wanted to talk about this because Holly, Donte, we actually were at the last FanFest. So it's obviously been nearly a whole year since we were there, right? And that was a pretty exciting show. It's good to meet everyone. It wasn't just the games that were fantastic there. It was also great to get around and meet everyone. And I hope that Garuda and Umbra, I know Umbra's planning to go 2025, as am I. Garuda, we'll try to drag you along if we can. But I just sort of wanted to get a feel from the panel, from you guys, about how you're feeling about Xbox in general now. Because since that showcase, there's been a lot of interesting shifts, right? There's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. We've sort of been up and down. You know, we've had the 4 games go over. There's been rumors that are bad, rumors that are good. You know, Xbox has stepped on a few rakes. They've done a few good things, but I don't think that anyone can argue that there's definitely been a shift in perception. For myself, I can say most definitely there's been a shift in perception on how I view Xbox as what Xbox itself is, and where they're going and what their sort of goals are for the future, and then so how I see the brand as a consumer and as a fan has obviously shifted. Not for negative and not for positive. It's just, it has been a shift. So I guess I'm sort of curious. I wanted to get a round robin before we jumped into the excitement of the showcase about how we're sort of feeling about where Xbox is sitting right now for you personally. And I'll go around the panel. Blue, first again. So where are you sitting? Since that showcase, a lot's happened. So yeah, where are you at with them?
Yeah. When you think about, it's only been a year, when you consider how many things have changed or how many things have happened in the last 335 days, it's pretty incredible. I think it was just, did it just happen, or I think we're just coming up on the anniversary of the surprise decision by the CMA that they were not going to allow the merger to happen and all of the stuff that came with that, which was right before the showcase, and all of the FCC stuff that came in June. I think it was June. So that was just a year ago. It feels like a lot longer considering that they fought that and they won, and then they closed on ABK in October. And I think the thing that none of us expected was all of the things that have happened since ABK. And I believe that a lot of the stuff that's happened is actually because of ABK. And I don't know that any of us could have foreseen it, right? I don't even know who at Xbox foresaw that, rolling this massive juggernaut as ABK into their ranks was going to change things so profoundly. Maybe they did before they closed, maybe they didn't. I'm suspecting that, it was 50-50. They thought certain things were going to happen, and then other ancillary things happened that they didn't anticipate, which is the nature of business. But having said that, I am interested in seeing where Xbox goes. I have a few things I think might be coming or might happen. But given the fact that literally everything I thought that was going to happen in the first 6 months of this year hasn't happened, or something very different has happened, you just have to be fluid and learn how to roll with the punches and figure out, how does that actually affect me? At the grand scheme of things, does this affect me in any way? And there's a lot of ways to posture on those questions. There's a lot of what ifs or hows, or you just don't know. And that's the thing, right? Like, we're consumers, we're not part of the company. We influence the company by our wallets and by the things that we say, but at the end of the day, we're all consumers and we have a choice. We could be PCMRs like Garuda, or we could, be on a PlayStation podcast. It's all up to you and what you choose to do. I personally have really, found a lot of excitement in Xbox and being the underdog and the things that have come with it, and rooting for them in various times. And one of the most important things to me is the fact that Xbox has valued their consumers as actual consumers and as a community to support. And FanFest is one of the biggest things that they do for that. I hope that they do not alter that. I hope that they keep things moving. I know that they have a lot going on. I know they canceled BlizzCon this year, but that was for a variety of reasons, not, and sounds like that wasn't necessarily even like a Microsoft decision. Sounds like that was probably going to happen either way. But Xbox is very community focused, been very community forward. And out of all the changes that do come, that is the one thing that I would like really press, and for like as a fan or as a consumer, as somebody who's spent thousands of dollars in this ecosystem, that they continue to, kind of support the players as much as the players have supported them.
Yeah, and I think that has been like the uneasiness, to put it lightly, for a lot of people. Is the support going forward? Is it going to still exist? And I think we can say with fair certainty it will be. Garuda, where are you at? How you feeling? Had a little chat before the show. And I said, don't go too hard.
Nice.
There's a reason because I was asking this question, but be honest, where are you at with them? Like, how you feeling? Yeah, where there's been a lot of change, there's been a lot of disappointments, there's been a lot of triumphs. Yeah, where are you at with them?
Garuda's about to empty the clip. It's like, I lied.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I am aware that I come off very, very critical and harsh of Xbox, but I don't know. I only say things, sort of from the heart, and bit like, I'm not quite like Tim Dog, like a scorned lover like that, but I feel pretty burned, like, in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of us do, but I don't really just want to focus on the negatives. There's two ways to look at the direction of Xbox at the moment, and you can look at it like I should be looking at it as I don't own an Xbox anymore because they took away the point of an Xbox, frankly. But I can look at it like they have more content, better services, more studios, more games in development, and a better ecosystem than ever. So Xbox is stronger than ever. Okay, that's the way I should be looking at it, and that's the way it affects me. But then on the other hand, you have I'm looking at it from the console only guy's perspective, and you might not necessarily be losing something, but you're definitely you're definitely not being prioritized by Xbox. I mean, it's called Xbox. Like, come on, man, look after the console. And I mean, yeah, I'm trying not to be negative, but yeah, look, they are in a better position as a brand than ever. But it's just their hardware that's not. Okay, and I don't see with this business strategy how that will change in the future, no matter how good the next piece of hardware is. Whilst ever, they've diminished the value of the system, and I'll stand on that, because if they go down the path of no exclusives at all, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing if they go down that path? Okay, but I'm personally, like, I have more games to play than ever, and that's partly, in big part, thanks to Xbox and Game Pass. Everyone knows that I'm very savvy. I'm very I'm a frugal gamer, to say the least. I'd rather spend my money on hardware and have a great experience than spend big money on games day one and play it on, lower specs or whatever. So Xbox allows me to do that. They save me a ton of money so that I can have good hardware to play their games. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for a lot of things. I love Game Pass. It's the best thing ever, in my opinion, and it's only getting better. So those are the really positive things. But I just hope that we don't see a further diminishing of a reason to have their hardware. And I mean, like Holly said, I hope that it's all the money and everything that people have spent in their ecosystem over the years is respected moving forward, and that carries over. I'm sure it will, but I'm just struggling to see where hardware is going to feel like it matters to Xbox moving forward. Just from because I look at it like this: like, why spend all this money on R&D and all this money on marketing only to sell the console later at a loss? So I'm not sure if they're going to fix that up a little bit with the hardware so that they don't take such a loss next time.
Anyway, though, like PlayStation does that, and Xbox, they pretty much both sell at a loss for the most part.
Yeah, they do. But now that they're making so much money on other people's platforms and on the PC front, and then Game Pass is a focus and all that kind of stuff, I just don't know how much of a priority like console hardware is, especially for the top brass to look at it and go, why are we spending all this money on R&D? Why are we doing this and that? I really, every bit of critique that I have for the brand, it comes from a place of love for the brand. Like, I'll always be an Xbox guy. I have a PC now, but I'm not PC MR. Like, I'm an Xbox guy. I play Xbox games on PC. I want to see Xbox hardware be relevant. And the real reason I'm so disappointed is because they just had all their ducks in a row to kick ass, and then they just do this massive business strategy flip. And I'm just like, oh, we were so close. That's my feeling.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's ROI.
I get both sides.
They need that return on investment, and it's not.
Do.
I don't think that's Xbox internally. Like, and again, I said, like, I called this quite a ways back, way before anyone else was saying this. And Umbra, you can back me on this. There was a civil war going on in Xbox pretty much during and after the ABK deal, and it's still going on, I believe, as to what they're going to bring and what they're not going to bring. And yeah, I mean, it just remains to be seen who's going to win that. But I mean, Satya Nadella's been quite clear about his direction. So yeah, look, I can understand that you feel like that. But Donte, let's jump to you and see how you're feeling about Xbox. There's been a lot of changes since we sat at that table with Jason Ronald, talked hardware, and jumped in that showcase room. It was almost, me and Colt were almost hugging each other at one point. I think that was when Star Wars Outlaws came out, and we were like almost out of a chair.
We're definitely hugging each other. It wasn't an almost.
We got a little bit excited, and it was exciting, and it is exciting to see it on the showcase. But is it the same? Like, has too much changed? Has it diminished your excitement, or are you still just all in? You're all in at the moment.
I mean, yeah, I'm all in. I mean, I've invested too much money into the platform to not be all in. Where am I feeling right now? Cautiously optimistic. I think that's the word I want to use. The words I want to use because I think for those who kind of have pushback, I think the idea was they felt that after they did Bethesda, after they did ABK, that this was Xbox basically kind of loading up to have the ability to fully take on Sony, and people kind of within the camps of console warring kind of wanted Xbox to get a little bit of payback in that regard. And I think for those who are kind of emotional about it, that's the bigger force that's driving a lot of some of the stuff that we see on Twitter. Me, it doesn't impact me. Like I don't care if someone gets to play a game that I get to play on the same platform, but it does impact me when I care about local hardware. So kind of to what Garuda was saying, I am a person who like, yes, I have a nice PC, but I prefer to game on a console, especially like in my living room versus being in my room where my PC is. So like my concern there is like, yes, if you become a platform that most of your games are going cross-platform, are you now not putting as much emphasis on hardware? As of right now, we know that's not the case because they've came out and told us that they have plans for hardware, probably even a mobile and a console, most likely. But like we're probably obviously concerned about how does that look down the road. And I'm with you, Riskit. I believe exclusives do give people a reason to come to you. So even though like in the big scheme, it's like, yeah, it doesn't impact me for someone to play a game on PlayStation that I get to play on Xbox. At the same time, you do need a reason for people to say, why am I going to go ahead and buy an Xbox, right? So I think what we're seeing is, I think some of this is high level. And what I mean by that is I think they invested a lot of money in Bethesda. They invested a lot of money into ABK, and it's time to pay dividends. I think there's people like Amy Hood and Satya who's kind of like, look it, I don't care too much about the whole console warring crowd. That doesn't matter to us. We need to justify why we spent, 90 plus million or whatever that they've spent over the last 5 years in gaming. And the way to do that is to get your games in as many places as you possibly can. So I think we have to get to that point where we have to start adjusting our expectations and realize that maybe the writing's on the wall that a lot of games will end up being on both platforms. Maybe we eventually get to a point where maybe PlayStation's doing something similar. And then after that, at that point, your differentiator is hardware, right? If PlayStation is doing something similar where some of their games are going to basically make their way over, I mean, who knows? It may not happen, but you never know. But if it does, if that's the future, if they want to basically make more money because development cost for gaming is extremely high these days, then they would probably have to do the same thing if they're not getting enough money recouped between PC and PlayStation. So if we get to that point where everyone's kind of putting their games on a lot of different platforms, the things that's going to determine for people to be within your ecosystem is going to be the hardware. So maybe in a sense that refocuses as to like, well, what is your hardware doing that's that much better than what the competition is offering? That's me optimistic, hoping that we can get to something like that as to so that way hardware still becomes a thing. I keep hearing people saying though that like the console warrior is dying to a degree in terms of the console player, that everybody these days is playing like on mobile or the young kids are playing on mobile and PC. And I sure hope not. Like, I mean, I get that and I understand you got to focus on the next generation, but localized hardware to me is still something that like I don't see streaming as something that I want to do consistently. It's just not there yet. Maybe in 10, 15 years it is, but right now I still see local hardware as being important. So um yeah, man, I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, they still got a crazy value proposition with Game Pass, and we still know that we have at least one more generation of hardware coming, according to what we've heard from Sarah Bond. So right now, I'm still waiting and seeing, and hopefully we'll get to a point where things become a little bit more clear. I just wish that they would be a little bit more transparent to tell us what the strategy is, because the guessing game I think is what's driving people crazy. Like,
I don't
is
think
this
they
going to be
know,
on
Donte.
PlayStation? Say
I
again?
don't think they know. I don't think they know
Right.
to be
I agree.
transparent. Yeah.
And I think that's where they need to do. They need to get to that point where it becomes more transparent so people just get to know, as opposed to, oh, is this going to be on PS5 or is this going to be an exclusive, right? They need to kind of paint a clear picture. Hopefully they do that with the June showcase to a degree, maybe give us a little bit more insight, because it's the not knowing that I think that's driving a lot of the fervor that we see on Twitter.
Yeah, with each game, it would be. I don't think there's much hope of that happening. Giving us, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of, them sort of saying the words exclusive, or I think they're going to be a little bit cagey about that sort of stuff. So, but to your point, where you say that if PlayStation starts doing this, then we get to a point where we're back at sort of the PS2 360 era, where and PS3 sorry 360 era, where they've got completely different hardware. They're competing on a hardware level that was as much competing on a hardware level as they were at a console level, a games level. So I would love to see that again. But there's another way that we can sort of get there. And Umbra, I'm going to jump to you in a minute. But there's another way that we get there with that. Now, if and we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show, but this is stuff that we've been talking about for quite some time, and it's sort of coming out now that this is what's happening. And there was a reason we're talking about it, and have been talking about it for a while. If they start side loading, for instance, the Xbox into a system that's Windows based, that has Steam, Epic, Itch, all of these, the availability of what's on PC on the Xbox, then immediately your Xbox becomes relevant, and PlayStation by default will already be doing what Xbox is doing, but without the added cost. I guess to Xbox is that they'll have those PlayStation games will be available if they're available on PC. Now, there obviously could be some sort of licensing issue where PlayStation may not allow them to license it, and so it won't be available on the store. And how that would work, I don't know. But if we get to a point where Xbox has everything available on it, and PlayStation has some of the Xbox games available on it, well, you've just flipped the narrative. So it's a really interesting. I'm very interested to see what happens with the hardware coming up in the next generation. And then going forward, because I believe there will be a going forward. And Germany, it would be amazing to play your PlayStation games on an Xbox with an Xbox controller, the best controller in the business. Umbra, how are you feeling about the Xbox? So coming from last year's showcase, which was super hype, there was a lot of great games there. Some we haven't seen, release yet. Some coming up very, very soon. But how are you feeling? Where you sitting with the way Xbox is sort of tracking? Are you looking at it from a different perspective? Is it the same thing? Where are you at with Xbox these days?
Well, I see it a few ways. I do agree with you that it seems that there must have been a schism behind the scenes with management and team members there. At least I think we actually heard a rumor about that too. I think there was a bit of a rumor that there was actually Tim Dog said that. Now that I think about it, he said there was a bit of a dispute behind the scenes on the direction as far as where they would go. I am, how do I put this? I'm content because I have a nice PC, much like Garuda and Donte, where I'm not feeling like, oh man, I won't be able to do this or that, right? But I'm in a unique position because that aside is I know that they're still going to have good hardware going forward. They're not stopping that suddenly. So knowing that they're not stopping and they're going to continue with that path, and hopefully that the rumored two SKUs with the handheld and all of that is true, because I'm really interested in trying that out. I still am going to buy consoles even though I have a PC, just because just because I'm a tech head when it comes to that type of thing, I guess, or at least a completionist when it comes to gaming, I guess. So I want to have all the gens, if that makes sense. So I'm content with it, but at the same time, much like you, the proposition of them possibly having Microsoft at least having where they might have Steam as a offloaded thing where you can load it up and boot up Steam games and access, or Epic or whatever on a PC storefront. That right there is, like you said, it's intriguing, and I want to see how that plays out. And so I'm really excited for that, to see how that works out. And if that is the case and it does come to fruition, I don't think I think, like you said, the narrative flips, right? Is not so much a negative against Sony, because they've trained their gamers specifically in a traditional sense of exclusivity. Xbox has now gone away from that and has trained us that exclusives don't really matter as much, right? Everybody plays, we all win, as they say, right? So it'll be a thing for Sony. Now, what I'm interested in is seeing is also, like you said, is if Sony is going to play ball and allow those games to be playable if they're through Steam on Xbox and whatever, however they handle it. That's what I'm wondering.
They're definitely going to try to kill that.
Oh yeah, I imagine they would. But you
They're
never
gonna let
know.
that one fly.
I don't know why. Why wouldn't they? They are getting the money from a sale on Steam.
Yep.
Period.
Because they're,
but I
And
think
they
they
can't-
they're
place-
petty. I mean, like,
they
look how
place
long
so
it
much
took.
emphasis on
Look
the
how long it
console
took them
Nah.
to give
Like,
it crossplay. Remember,
but
crossplay
that's
was like the thing
old.
that Xplay was doing first, and they were like, nah.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
old Sony. That isn't the Sony that's here now.
I think if all their games were releasing day and date on PC, they'd probably let Xbox do that. But I could see a big pushback. I could see like court cases over that shit. Like I would love that to happen, but I think Sony are way too petty for that.
Wait a minute.
They're too
Why
proud.
day
They're
and
too
date
proud.
versus 6 or months to a year? Why?
Because by that stage, they're going to do this in steps. I believe they'll go PC day and date first before they allow Xbox to have Steam and then thus access to all their games. I think they're going to do it. They've like you said, they've conditioned their fan base such, so they're going to slowly cause pain in a slow way. They'll go PC day and date first, and then they'll do it in increments, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, I'm kind of in the boat of, I guess I see it on all you guys' way actually, because much like Holly said, yeah, it's a sale for them, so there's no need for them really to block it. It's a win for them, right? But also, like Donte said, they are petty, and I don't believe at all that that's the old Sony. I still believe Sony still has that same mentality of like, nope, Xbox denied. I still believe they have that. So don't know if that's the case or not, but I'm interested in seeing if that happens. That's the bigger thing for me. But it's a big solution if we actually get a chance to, have Steam. Now people denied it and we're like, well, how would that work? Now you got smarter people there, smarter than all of us, that can handle the logistics. I am just wondering if it is a thing that happens. Um, it solves a lot of problems for Xbox as far as third party and things like that, games that traditionally skip the platform, or maybe games that we possibly wouldn't even get on console that you can now get access to. Yeah,
Mhm.
so that right there is actually pretty. It makes me smile thinking about it if that is true. As far as how like where I'm at, as far as how I feel like where Xbox has been, I think it's unfortunate because they have a lot of positives that people should be celebrating and being happy about, and some still haven't lost the plot. But I would say that Microsoft is not that great when it comes to the narrative and keeping the idea of positivity there for long periods of time. And I think it's
Right.
yeah, and I think it's not just their fault. It's a lot of factors trying to work against them. You got a lot of naysayers in general, but I think a lot of that stems from past mistakes of Microsoft too. You know what I mean? So you got a lot of Xbox fanboys, for instance, who are now rallying against them. You have a lot in the media who I think have more of a negative view when it comes to Xbox or versus Sony, for instance, or Nintendo. So I think a lot of that plays into it, either whether subconsciously or not. So I think that right there plays into it too. So it typically, like you said, they'll step on a rake, but I think it's exacerbated by those who were formerly fans of the platform, who felt the way last gen and carried that on until today. And that spreading that FUD is a cost of that, and it continuously happens in the community. So when there might not be such of a big issue, you have a lot of fanboys and negative types who are making it worse than what it is or what it seems. But I think Microsoft has to get a hold of that, and because I feel like they've been kind of lackluster with that recently, where they've kind of just like, well, let them fight it out, let them fight. So I don't know. we'll see. Maybe they'll get it together. Maybe they'll get it together next month, man. I mean, next month, and the showcase will wow a lot of people. I think it'll turn the tide for a lot of people who are feeling negative about the brand.
Yeah, I mean, so all good, all interesting points from pretty hardcore Xbox fans, I would argue, each and every one of you, and myself included. So for me, it's been a real journey, right? This whole year for me has been ups and downs, and coming to terms, and seeking information. One thing that I've been doing a lot of is like trying to hunt down as much information as I can get in the background, whenever I can get a hold of it, not to specifically just to share it, but to put my own mind at ease as to where we're headed, because I want to know what Xbox is doing in the background. And you get some nuggets that are true, and you get some nuggets that aren't, and remains to be seen where we end up. However, I mean, going back to that Steam side loading as a Windows console, which was something that's possibly might be happening, that does flip the narrative and really put my mind at ease. And so I'm very much sort of sitting with that, and sort of understanding, and then going back to the 4 games, sort of understanding what Xbox is sort of doing in the future that they're headed towards. Even if that's not what they're doing for their next console, I completely understand what they're doing and why. Because Xbox has had a real issue with seeing what's coming down the road and jumping way too early. And I think in this circumstance, when they brought the 4 games over, that was not necessarily their fault. That obviously got leaked out, the internal war, and people didn't want it to happen within Xbox itself. So they leaked it out, hoping that would put a bit of a stop to it. And it may have put a stop to some games. And we may have only just got the 4, or it may have had no effect at all. We don't know. But they have had that issue of seeing what's happening down the road, being very astute with that, and then jumping too early and then making themselves sort of look bad. Or just, the DRM, TV stuff, all things that exist today and are standard within every console. And the streaming and the connectivity and all that sort of stuff, all great ideas, but just not what was being looked for at that specific time. But in the future, that's where we ended up anyway, right? It just wasn't the selling point they should have gone for. So over this course of this year, I've had many moments, and I guess a lot of people have known me as a bit of a console warrior online, and it's been a little bit difficult to sort of step back from that personality trait that I have, which is to hardcore defend any team or I guess anything that I'm a fan of. And in good fun. I mean, I've been doing this. This is the other thing that's sort of changing at the moment, is the whole console v console thing. And I've been involved in that since I was when did Sega launch the Master System in Australia? As soon as they launched that, Sega launched their Master System in Australia. It was Nintendo versus Sega, and I've been on one side or the other since that day. And that's like, you're talking when I was a kid.
Bro, that was like 87 or something crazy.
Yeah. So I was 7 years old. So like since I was 7 years old, I've been on a console side, right? And that's really changing. And I know that like a lot of people would say, that's it's silly. You're a 43-year-old man and blah, 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 all that stuff that you hear on Twitter, right? But it's just something that you're attached to from your childhood, and all through your life that I've had personally. And so it's quite hard to let go that that's really not a thing anymore. And I hate to call it the console wars because it sounds juvenile, but the console war is over, right? But neither of them won. and PC, look, if anyone won this round, it was Gabe, who was just chilling with Valve, with Steam, and he's won this without even like really putting up a fight. He just did his thing, ended up being the winner, right? And it's really hard to also convey that to a lot of the hardcore console warriors like King Thrash that keep having the back and forth with him because this dude just does not get it. Like, it is over. PC won. That's where we're going. And even if we don't go there as in like, and do what Garuda's done and, if these PCMR shills, do what these guys have done.
Hold up. Umbra done it too. Don't just put me in that boat, bro.
I said Umbra. But like, even if we don't do what you guys have done and we go and get a PC, and it's part of the reason why I'm not. That and the uncertainty with what's going on with work at the moment, but is that we're about to jump into a generation that's going to very much start to look like they are PCs anyway. And even if we don't have side-loading Steam for whatever reason, be it licensing or tech, it won't be tech, but be it licensing, that's going to happen. That's the next console after that if it doesn't happen this one, right? So, and once you've done that, you've got a fully integrated, opened, non-walled garden, like just console generation, where really every company becomes a third party, and to position yourself, which is what Microsoft has been doing, to position themselves as one of the biggest publishers in that space is just smart business. Are they jumping too early? Fucking A. but I don't blame them, and I can't. After I got over myself, because that's what you need to do. After you get over yourself and you start to understand what the business side of it is and what the future is, and for me as a consumer, and does that benefit me? You start to understand that yes, this is just a massive benefit to every gamer. The AAA space is not in a great way right now. Like, it's really not in a great way. There's hundreds of millions of videos out there about why AAA's in the condition that it's in. And the only way to get there is if we change if the system changes how it works. And so that's what Xbox is doing. They've always been at the forefront of change. And so I think you just need to, it's a sort of a wait and see, suck it and see thing. And it's one of the worst things to say to an Xbox fan is just wait, but just wait. And that's how I'm feeling like at the minute. And also, again, I'll say, like, whether it's true what I hear or I don't hear, and I'm not going to share like all the stuff that I hear, but like, we do hear things behind the scenes. There are rumors that float around between creators and people who know. Breaking news, we've lost Tim Dog to PlayStation. Look, I love Tim Dog, so I would never throw any shade at him. I think he's an absolute champion of a guy. Wherever he ends up, he ends up.
He broke my heart, bro. He broke my heart.
Yeah, look, I love him. I do love him, but he might have gone a little bit full pony. But like, you broke my train of thought, Cole. But seriously, I don't think at the moment, like, we're past this doom and gloom. And so the recent news from Jez, which we'll get into it in a little while, it didn't affect me at all. Like, it just bounced off. And we do hear these things in the background. If what they're doing, or at least trying to do, and there must be some truth to it, if what they're trying to do comes to fruition, the future is bright, not just for Xbox, but I think for everyone in the gaming industry. And so, yeah, I think everyone needs to chill a bit. And I do, like, I talk to Tim in the background when I get a chance. And I know Tim was on Mooches and he had some stuff to say. And I was like, whoa, damn. But look, Tim is a human being and he is a good dude. So, yeah, I would encourage everyone not to go out on Twitter and start throwing shade at him, because he just is a really nice guy. If you have anything to do with him and you knew him, you wouldn't go after him.
Look, and just quickly on Tim, he was more than just a fan. Like, Xbox was absolutely part of his personality by the end of it, so that's why it's hurt him more than anyone. And yeah, I'm the same. I encourage, please don't go after Tim. He's like a scorned lover, and yeah, that is what it is. But it's sad to see.
Yeah, he wears his heart on his sleeve. I can't be mad at him for how he feels.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, at the end of the day, we gotta adapt, right? We gotta adapt and move on. And obviously, there's a changing landscape that's happening right here. I mean, look, we gotta be happy that they're still in gaming, right? Because there's a few shaky years, right, when we didn't know if that was going to continue. And like I said, I think at some point in time, there's a mind share that Sony has, that even though they've had, like, Sony has been kind of dry over the last year and a half for the most part, but their mind share is so strong that even with that, people are still going to think of them first when it comes to consoles, right? And they've had that mind share, like, ingrained ever since the Xbox One. So at some point, Xbox has to kind of pivot. And like you say, where are we with AAA? It's been harder to develop for. The returns aren't exactly where a lot of these companies want them to be. But we want these companies to still be in gaming. We want Microsoft to still be in gaming to protect our libraries and give us new content. So this is the pivot, right? This is the expansion. And so we got to be able to adjust with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well said. Look, before we jump into the next topic, guys, I want you guys to type hashtag coins in the chat. We're giving away. Hey, Blue, do you mind bringing up that that Hellblade coin if you've got it to reach? We're giving away 3 of these Hellblade coins. Absolutely amazing. Made by Ben Kenobi 2020, an absolute champion and a really talented artist. So, guys, type hashtag coins in the chat if you are on YouTube. Otherwise, jump over to YouTube. I've left a link in the description of the Twitter. And we'll be giving them away pretty darn soon. We'll jump into the next topic. Before we do jump into the next topic, guys, please hit that like button. Share us out. We go live every Friday, 8 p.m. EST. If you're in Australia, that is 11 a.m. And if you're in the West Coast, Best Coast, where I live, 8 a.m. Moving on to the next topic, which is we're really still the same topic. Showcase. So I guess there's a lot, man. So I just want to go through the list real quick, and I'll just rattle it off. And I know I hate to do the verbatim thing. It really annoys me, but I'm going to do it. There's around about 24 games that Microsoft has announced that we will see. Obviously, there's always going to be things, and there will definitely be things coming that we're not going to see, and you should always be the most excited about those. Blue, I 110% agree with you, and I know that's going to be your answer. So now you have to come up with something else. Number 1 is Avowed, 2, Fable, Indiana Jones, The Great Circle, Clockwork Revolution, Senua Saga. We know that's already coming. We'll probably see a little bit of that. Elder Scrolls. There's always something for that. It's talking about 6. OD, that was Hideo Kojima's game. South of Midnight, that Compulsion game, which I'm really, really super excited about. The more I think about that game, the more I get excited about it. History Untold, Arc 2, Contraband. Have to see something of that. Dungeons of Hinterberg. We've already seen a bit of that on ID and Xbox. Replaced. Where the hell is that game? Stalker 2, possibly. State of Decay 3, Age of Mythology Retold, 33 Immortals, The Outer Worlds 2, doubtful. Project Mara. Possibly. Project Maverick. That project is coming from the creators of People Can Fly. They made Gears of War Judgment.
Your Judgment. Yeah,
and Outriders.
Outriders. That's what I was thinking of. Yep. So they've got a project happening just for Xbox called Project Maverick. So we may see something of that. Citizen Sleeper 2, Starwood Vector, Everwild. Maybe. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, very fucking likely. So of that list, right, I'm really interested to see what you guys think is going to be coming, what you're most excited for, if you think there's a new project sort of happening, or what would be cool to see. And I'll go backwards around the list. Umbra, I'm going to go to you. Who wrote Noix? It doesn't work, BT Maverick. It's going to be coins. Oh, you've already won 2. Yeah, you can't do it anymore. Umbra, where are you at with the showcase? What are you hoping to see? What do you think we'll definitely see? What do you think is an outside chance? What are you hoping to see? Hopes, dreams, wishes, beliefs?
You kind of said hoping and looking to see. That's kind of like the same. Anyway, for me, I believe that we will see Starfield's DLC. So we'll see the Shattered Space. I called it Shattered Dimension by mistake on my show the other day. I was like, wait a minute, isn't that Spider-Man? Yeah, so we'll see Shattered Space more than likely. It's releasing later this year. So it's more than a good chance that that'll be there. As far as we also probably, I'm guessing, Diablo 4. Danny pointed this out and I had to look into it. So season 4 starts May 14th, so it'll start soon, and so they might have more content that they'll show for Diablo 4 there, especially with it being in Game Pass. I can see that being the case. Let me think. I think we might see some gameplay of Avowed, since we've already seen some of that. Indiana Jones, more than likely. I would love to see Contraband finally shown off. I would love to see State of Decay 3 finally shown off. Actually see that in action. Perfect Dark. I want to know what's going on with Everwild. We have no idea what's going on with that. I don't expect that to be there, but it would be a nice surprise. I'm not sure what's going on with Rare when it comes to that.
We don't even know what that game is. putting that video together that I put together about what was coming, and I was like, man, I have no idea what this game is. Like
Yeah.
this
2
game.
years
I
ago,
think
they announced they
think-
restarted.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Apparently, the
What-
gameplay loop they were struggling to find the fun and engagement in it. It had no combat whatsoever. And then when they rebooted it, I heard they were adding combat to try and make it more engaging. But
Yeah, they spoke on it and
it's
said
like,
they
where
had
are
no
you now?
idea.
Right.
Yeah.
What is it now if it's still a thing?
yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. They spoke on it, but last I heard about it, they put the new director, which is a veteran there at Rare, over it, but they had no idea what the game was going to be. They just have it there. It's like, oh, you're just walking around with mystical animals near you, but they had no idea what the game would actually be. So
It's a petting simulator, a heavy petting simulator.
all right, just going around petting animals, like, yeah. The idea of no combat is just, I don't know. With those types of animals all around, it's like a Pokemon-esque game.
I think they realized.
I think that was silly.
Yeah.
We'll probably see something with Elder Scrolls, especially. Shout out to Colt, who was attended recently an event. So I'm going to guess that they're going to have something there with Elder Scrolls online, at least to show. I wonder if we will see something with Fallout. And to me, it's like they have to capitalize on that. I feel like it'll be foolish not to at this point. So maybe the whole rumored, well, not rumored because it was in the documents that were leaked, the Fallout 3 remake and such like that, or remaster, would actually be there. That would be cool to see. So something will fall out because they need to capitalize on that. And maybe they can kind of state an initiative for plans to make future Fallout games that doesn't take us literally until 2000 and 277 that we play it. Halo. I keep almost saying a different name, but I almost say Creative Assembly, but it's Certain Affinity. Certain Affinity. The rumor was, and again, shout out to Corden and his podcast, because Mag had alluded to this rather about a month back now, where he was saying that the rumored spinoff that they had for Halo, that they would it wasn't actually canceled, and we will be seeing that, and it will be an Unreal Engine 5. Now, I love me some Unreal Engine, so I'm hoping that's true, and I'm hoping that we do see something with that. It's been a long time coming. It's well past point that we get some story content.
Sorry, I just said Unreal 5. It triggered the thing.
Oh, I didn't know what that was.
I've got it set every time you say Unreal Engine 5. It makes it
Unreal Engine 5. Oh man, that thing is trained well. So yeah, that's we worked on you put some work in. You put some work in on this show. So you got Gears of War. Obviously, we'll probably see the Unreal Engine 5. Just testing. So Gears of War, we'll probably finally see the collection, hopefully. And of course, Gears of War 6 announced, right? So I'm guessing Gears of War collection finally this year on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation.
Oh, ouch! Yeah, we can talk about it.
Hit the wah. Wow, why you didn't hit it then?
Well, it's more of a.
You need the pony sound.
Yeah, can you get like a stampeding hooves?
Yeah, you got there we go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
I'm joking. Kinda.
Yeah.
Joking. Now, how much of a gut punch would that be if they're like, oh, Gears of War collection remastered in Unreal Engine 5?
Yeah, that's just I don't know. We'll talk, but we'll definitely talk about that. But anything else? Anything else you think you hope you see? Wishes, dreams, beliefs.
I can't think of anything else. I think those are the ones. Well, Fable. I would love to see actual gameplay of Fable, like not actual, because I guess technically what we did see was supposed to be a bit of that. I want to see a dedicated vertical slice of Fable gameplay, if that would be possible. I doubt it, but I would like that to be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Star Traffic 2 just said something that I personally believe. Nothing I've heard, but I was watching the developers on Twitter, and they've been talking, and the guys from Splash Damage who did Gears Tactics started talking about how it's been 4 years since the last one. They're really excited, and they started putting together a video of how they built the last one. And then there was a comment in the chat where wouldn't it be cool if we had a Halo Wars type RTS Gears Tactics? And then they responded with, wouldn't it? And then that was like, oh, they're teasing. Stop it. Like, don't do it to me unless... Look, I'm going to quickly give away one of these coins. And it won't be the last one you can win. We're going to give away 3 today. So I'll do them in between each panel member's showcase thoughts. So this will be the first one. And I should really have some music ready for this because generally everyone just goes really silent. So put some tunes on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought that was my moment. Where we're doing it. Sorry. Wait. Run it back. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Shout out to Ray.
Hey, Mr. Monster.
Congratulations, Gray Man. Really excited to send out a coin to you. This is going to be awesome. So that is fantastic. Who we got up next? I don't know who I had in the line, but I think we're going to go Donte. Donte, what are your where are you at with this showcase? What do you think's coming? There's 24 games we've already seen announced. There's studios talking. There's 40 plus studios creating. So what do you want to see? What's likely? Hopes, dreams, wishes, beliefs out there. One of your out there predictions. Just give me everything. What do you got?
All right, let me look at the list. So, of course, I think we got to see Avowed. You know what's really cool about this right now is that they got enough stuff where we don't know what's going to be able to make it, because it's a lot of things potentially that they could have, and finally we're at a point where it's like, oh, they may not be able to show as much of the stuff that's even in this list, but Avowed, of course, because you're at that point now where you gotta show it, especially if it's supposed to release later this year. Yeah, I would love to see something of Fable, but for some reason I don't think we're going to. I think we'll see something for Indiana Jones, probably just like another more detailed game slice. I'm hoping. I expect to see like a little bit as to what South of Midnight is. Just a snippet of what the gameplay looks like, because before we just saw the trailer, right? We're not going to see Senya Saga because the game's coming out, so I don't think we're going to see that. Don't care about Arc 2, to be quite honest. Nothing against Arc, but I'm kind of overweight for that game. Contraband for sure. I'm with Umbra there. It's about time, right? We saw this game announced forever ago now, and now you got to actually show us what it is. And it's like, put up a shop and let us know if this is a good partnership. So Contraband I expect to see there. Replaced is another one that we've been waiting for forever. I know Terrace has been really hyped about that one for forever, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's about time for you to get ready to drop that. I don't think we're gonna see State of Decay, man. I don't know if they. I felt for some reason like what we saw earlier was just like a nice clip of a trailer. I don't think the gameplay is going to look like that. And I feel like that one might be one that maybe next year we'll get that. Stalker for sure. Me as a Halo fan, I would love to see something, man. Just give me something. Let me know like if there's going to be a new story beat that's going to finally pick up. Like, great that we got seasons going and all that stuff, but man, like, I want to see a continuation of the story, or even if it's going to be a spinoff. Let me know what's happening with the IP that literally got me into Xbox. So I personally, I want to see something for Halo, but we'll see if that happens. Perfect Dark is another one. You showed us that, announced the sizzle reel years ago, and now it's time to show us what have you guys been working on, right? This is what did they announce it as? The studio that was making it was going to be a quadruple, wasn't it? Quadruple A studio,
the first
right?
quadruple A game.
Right, exactly. So you built this up as like, yo, this is something that we're going to build something that's going to be like groundbreaking in terms of the level of support going behind it and production value. So it's kind of like at this point in time, especially because it's been a lot of moving that we've seen in terms of people working there, we want to know if that thing is still on track to be something, or if it's just basically somehow in development hell. So I think Perfect Dark, we need an update, and I think we need more than an update, man. You gotta show us something. You gotta show us an actual trailer of some gameplay. Everwild, man, I maybe next year. I don't know. We don't even know what that game is anymore. So if we see it, cool, but I think, yeah, I think that one is one that probably they're still kind of figuring that one out. It'll be nice if they show us that, like, okay, we have completely reworked it, we got some combat aspects into it, and boom, here it is, it's on track. But for some reason, I feel like since it's been super super quiet, maybe that would be like a surprise announcement. But I just don't foresee it. Of course, we know we got COD stuff coming. I know Blue's really happy about that, right? Blue, I know, super happy about that. I want to see something new for Gears, man. I need like a dope sizzle reel for whatever the next Gears is going to be. And then, I don't expect you to put out a trailer, but show us like a dope sizzle reel, and maybe a trailer for a little bit of gameplay if you possibly can. And then be like, bam, Gears Collection is going to be something you have until we can give you the fix for what the next Gears game is going to be. And in terms of Fallout, man, I really don't think so. Why it makes sense considering that Fallout is really really hot right now with the TV show kind of reinvigorating people to go ahead and play the games. I think really that Bethesda them was kind of focused on Starfield and focused on what Elder Scrolls is going to be. And unless they're tasking another studio like to basically, if Obsidian's like, yeah, we're willing to go ahead and do something, I really think that Fallout, like if anything's happening, it's probably happening right now because they're like, oh wait, this show turned out to be really really dope, and people are really really clamoring for Fallout. Maybe we do need to dedicate somebody, and if Bethesda can't do it, hey, are you guys cool if we have such and such do it, right? But I don't think they have anything that they've been working on that we're going to see in terms of a new Fallout game that's going to be announced at the show. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I just don't see it. I think right now they're really really focused on whatever Elder Scrolls is going to be, and obviously continuing to improve Starfield. So that's my take on what I think we're going to see at the show. Hopefully, and I'm just thinking about talking about Xbox first party stuff. I'm not talking about anything third party. It's the stuff I'm expecting from Xbox.
You're muted, Riskit.
I was going to say, Risky, we cannot hear you.
Okay, I was like, that was just me. I'm like, no, I lost him.
Riskit is unhappy.
We can't hear you, Riskit.
Just throwing shade at every prediction. No, I was also, it was really good takes, but there's also a lot to consider third party as well as hardware, which we haven't really talked about as well. So there's a lot that we could be seeing at this next showcase. But before we jump over to Garuda and what he thinks we'll see and what he's hoping to see, we'll do another quick coins giveaway. So guys, okay, keep typing. Yeah, I know I'm muted. I'm unmuted now. Keep typing hashtag coins in the chat for your chance to win. So here we go with the second giveaway.
Oh yeah. Who's it gonna be? Type coins up in that chat. I need the coins in the chat. Loins! Where my loins at? Happy team. What's up? You are the winner.
Team.
Congratulations, Palpatine, man. Really, that's awesome. A long-time listener. Palpatine's been with us since the very beginning. So I'm super hyped that you got a chance, that you got a coin, man. So that'll be out to you. And guys, I'll be sending you a link in your Twitter. So keep checking your Twitter DMs for that link, and then just go in and fill out the little survey thingy, and we'll send that coin out to you ASAP. Garuda, where are you at? What do you think is coming? There's 24 games announced. There's third-party stuff. There's hardware. There's so much that could be there. What are you hoping to see? What are your big picks for the showcase?
Oh man! First of all, this show could and should be very, very big. Like, man, it is. They have just a wealth of content, a wealth of studios, publishers, and we're just due for a lot of these games to show proof of life. And that's what I really want. Show me that these games exist beyond, 4 or 5-year-old little sizzle trailers, little cinematic trailers. We need to see some tangible gameplay for a lot of these games. And the exciting thing is that we're due for that, and we're likely to get that for a lot of these games. First of all, obviously, the really obvious ones like you guys have already mentioned a lot of them. Perfect Dark, don't give me another trailer for this thing. We know it's had ups and downs. We know they've brought in Crystal Dynamics to help with development. We know they've shed a lot of people from the Direct Initiative studio. They've had some ups and downs, but last we heard, the development's going really well. We need to see some gameplay for that game, even if it's just a little bit. Show us, is it a first-person game? Is it a third-person game? Just give us an idea of what the game's all about. Same as Compulsion's game. I know we only seen a quick little reveal of it last year, but that studio hasn't released a game since 2018, and I want to see what the game looks like in motion. I think we're due for that, and we'll probably get that. Obviously, the coalition with Gears, it's strongly rumored, I think more than just rumored, that we're going to see Gears 6 and perhaps something else, I think was teased, that's not all they're showing. I love Gears of War. I want to see Gears. The latest rumor was that there's like first person chainsaw combat and stuff. Like, that sounds sick, bro. Like, hell yeah, I want to see that. Double Fine. It's been a long time since Psychonauts 2 released. They make great games in all different genres, not necessarily the big bombastic AAA stuff, but they're always good games, no matter what they do there with Compulsion. So I'd love to see what they're doing next. Fable, obviously, being like you guys are like an original Xbox, fan. We love Fable, right? I want to see, no hesitations, gameplay. Show us how that game is playing. I want it to look as good as we think it's going to look. I really do. And I think we do see a little bit more from that. They have so much content, right, that they might have to sort of hold some of it back. They might feel they have to hold some of it back, but I don't want them to. I want this to be, and I expect this to be, Xbox's sort of quote unquote year of dreams, and it really can be. They can put a lot of the negativity around anything in gaming can be fixed simply, and that's with games, great games, right? When the good games are coming out, when they're being shown, when they're being revealed, it supersedes any talk around any brand or any publisher, right? They've got some amazing things. Like, if we already know that In Exile with their Clockwork Revolution game, that it's a lot further along than what we expected. I mean, it's not very often at a reveal that you see gameplay in such a cohesive state that we did with Clockwork Revolution. I think we can see more from that. We're going to see dates for games like Indiana Jones and Avowed. Look, Avowed is one I'm going to be a little bit negative on. I don't really like anything I've seen from that game, apart from that visually it looked a lot better last time we seen it. I hope that we see it mechanically looking a lot more fluid with the combat and stuff. I would not be surprised.
Do you like any of Obsidian's games now?
My favorite RPG studio, and they're my favorite RPG studio. And Grounded is my favorite game of all time, actually, which is a surprising thing to say because outside of any other survival game I've never really enjoyed, but Grounded's my favorite of all time, and I love all of Obsidian's RPGs. So I just didn't like how stiff and stilted and strange the combat looked, and just how it didn't look great to me. But I wouldn't be surprised if that one gets a bit of a delay personally. But look at all these games, man. Like, we're not going to see another.
Did you say stiff?
Oh yeah, the pony one is very fitting there. So I'm glad we're not going to see another Hellblade 2 close-up face or walking simulator trailer, because that game's going to be already out. People are going to be playing it at the time. All these things that we saw trailers for 4 and 5 years ago are the ones that I want to see gameplay for, and I think we will. State of Decay 3, I'm with you guys. It might miss, but I really want to see that. Like, that's one of my most anticipated games, and it is being developed in Unreal Engine 5. I don't expect it to look like that original trailer looked, but I just want to see how it looks. Like, it's been long enough for all these games that we need to start seeing gameplay for them now. But those are just the things we know about, right? And then there's a bunch of studios that haven't announced a game for a long, long time, like id Software.
That's a good one.
Is it Doom? Is it Doom Year Zero, or is it?
They've been too quiet for a very long time.
They have been. And the last DLC for Doom, it came out quite a while ago. They work rather fast for a modern day studio. They have a good grasp on their engine. It's very workable. It's very performant. So whatever they make, I'm super excited for it because it plays good. It
Phil even said
performs
that
good.
too, right? Didn't he say Phil said something recently when he
Yeah.
was asked that's like what he's really excited about?
He
And
said
there's
what
and he
it's
said,
working on.
yeah, whatever it's working on. So yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
absolutely. And they are overdue. They are overdue. And their games just play better, like performance-wise, than anything else. It's amazing. Like I can't wait to see what they're working on. I'm just having a look here at some of the other studios. I actually think we're an outside chance of getting a Forza Horizon 6 announcement, right? Because we're already longer in the cycle for Forza Horizon games than what we usually are. So we could get literally anything. It, and I hope that I don't want them to hold back much. I just want them to go, bam, this is why you need to be on Xbox. This is why you need to be on our ecosystem. Just flood us with content. Just blow people away. Make it the year of dreams that Xbox people deserve. And I think they're well in line. I think they've got the guns ready, and they just need to fire them. Yep. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, Doom is a good one. Like, and it may not be Doom. It may not be Doom Year Zero. It could be other things, but I've got some thoughts on that I think. But before we do that, we'll jump into the next giveaway, the last giveaway for the coin, the Hellblade 2 coin, which is coming up right now. So if you haven't typed coins in the chat whilst I'm talking, you better get it in there ASAP, because I'm about to hit that button once I've got the other buttons sorted out so I can press the button with the button and the other button. And here we go. It is Grim Jr. Congratulations, Grim Jr. You've won the Hellblade coin. I'll be sending you off. If you guys haven't added me on Twitter, make sure you add me on Twitter and I'll find you and send you the link. You guys just fill out surveys and we'll get those coins out to you ASAP. Before I jump to you, Blue, if you don't mind, I've got a super chat I want to read out from your panel member showmate from Renegade Realm podcast, Assassins Entertainment, with a $10 super chat. He says, as long as there's no Forza at the show, I'll be happy. We've already had 4 games and like 10 plus updates and expansions. It's a joke and the only high quality game Xbox has. Let the other games shine. Well, I don't know if I 110% agree with that take. I wouldn't mind saying Forza 6. I was never a Forza fan, Assassin, until Forza 5 came out. And to be fair, it was pretty dry at the time. We just had Halo. And it was absolutely amazing. Like, I love that game.
People want Tokyo, man. People want Tokyo, and I think Xbox are going to give them that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you're talking about Horizon?
Horizon.
Yeah. I'd be hyped. I'd be super hyped.
I want nighttime Japanese Tokyo street races like Midnight Club,
Yeah. I won't call them what we call them in Australia, but those little horrible, terrible cars. Blue, what do you think we're going to see? What are your thoughts on the showcase? Last year was amazing. Do you think this one's going to beat it? What games do you hope to see? What games do you think we'll see? What studios do you think are bringing out new IPs or existing IPs? Where are you at? What do you think?
Yeah, so I I mean, there's a lot, right? We can't talk about them all. First of all, just shout out to the fact that we have 2 Sith Lords that won 3 coins out of the 3 for the coins. I think that's quite hilarious. We I mean, we're not going to see Senua because it'll have come out just 3 weeks before. So there won't be anything for that. We're definitely going to see Indiana Jones because that's coming out at the end of this year. So, and we really haven't seen much about it. So I think there's going to be some more for that. I personally am my most anticipated trailer is always the one for a game that we've never seen. That's always the ones that I want to see the most. And for me, Psychonauts 2 was just about like it for like probably 2 years. That was my favorite game, even though,
Great game.
year to year, right? Psychonauts 2 was so good. And people really underestimate Double Fine. I think they are absolutely fantastic. Tim Schafer is hilarious. He's got a right level of emotion. It's just very creative and out of the
creative.
box
Like,
stuff.
did you guys ever? Sorry, Holly. Did you guys ever play Full Throttle back in the day on PC? It's
Yes.
like that's him. I didn't know that. It was amazing. It's such a
Yes,
good
and
game.
Grim
Sorry.
Fandango is him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that came up the other day that I didn't remember, Never something, but really, really good. And they've been quiet for a while. And Project Kiln was supposed to be shown, as according to rumors, right at the Direct in January, and it wasn't there, which I was also told is just a side project. That's not even like their full blown project that they're working on. So I would love to see those. My most anticipated game of this year is actually Replaced. I've been dying to play that game for like the last 2 years since the trailer. It's been bumped a couple times because they are a Ukrainian studio. So, but the last time they bumped it, they only bumped it like 3 months, 6 months, something like that. And now it's fall of this year. So if that timeline is still true, I do expect to see it again. There was a trailer about a year ago, another like 1-minute trailer that came out. But I think it'll be there this year if it's coming out this year. I think Stalker will be there because that's a September release. And I do think State of Decay 3, although for me personally, I've never really been much of a fan of that series. It just never hit right with me. 33 Immortals will definitely be there. I would love for them to announce that they're working on a Wolfenstein 3. I just love Wolfenstein. And I like, it's been too long since we had a BJ job.
Blazkowicz.
You wanna
Blazkowicz.
Yeah, shut up.
You wanna
And so
Use your
yes.
words.
Ah!
Use your words.
So
Oh.
there's Astro Cyborg.
I mean, let me
coming
save you
in
there.
clutch.
There you
So
go.
Contraband also looks really, really good. I'm really excited to see that. I don't
Assassin,
why
you know
I
what to
have the worst
do.
flips.
You got the oh.
Shut up, Red. And then Perfect Dark will probably be there.
Mm.
Maybe.
You know what to
I
do,
just can't.
Assassin.
All credibility is gone. Forza. So all of the games, I'm trying to power through. So all of the games that have live service, like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Microsoft the Flight Sim, like they'll have a section, right? They always have a section. Sea of Thieves, they'll all have a section of the showcase. They just shut up. Turn your camera off. So they have a section. And it's my fault.
You had
for
my
making them
you had
character
it.
that. They
You
made
had our
me character that.
curiosity.
I am a victim. So that's it.
You had our curiosity. Now you have our attention.
I'm
Please.
really excited for Ara. I know nobody else here is.
No, I am. Yeah, I like those kind of games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
thought that was the best game out of their last direct they done.
yeah,
I
me
like
too.
that more than anything. Yep.
More than Indiana Jones that was shown?
Yeah, oh, hell yeah. I didn't like
Oh,
it.
wow.
That should have been
Yeah,
third
great.
person. Fight me.
So
Yeah, we did, yeah.
and that's this fall game. So I think it'll pop up again. I think it'll be very small, like a small showing. But that'll be there.
Some are bigger than others.
I
Sorry.
hate you.
I'm sorry. I'll be back. Sorry. Hold on.
I should
Wait.
go. I should go.
No, we want
My
you to
most
stay.
anticipated.
Blue was very unprofessional. We apologize to you guys.
I am
in
so
the
sorry.
audience.
That was completely
It's-
unprofessional. I
No,
apologize.
it's not you. It's her. It's her.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Look, you guys don't give Umbra any crap for playing cheeks for days and camel
Listen.
toes for days.
Oh,
You know,
camel toes.
like,
It's a
but
shared
honest-
interest
and
amongst
then the
us.
other games that are coming that I'm really excited for is actually Clockwork. Like that's my
Clockwork Revolution.
yeah, that's my big
Because
Because
game was
it's got
fire.
Bioshock feel, right? It's got that sort of
it's a
Bioshock.
Bioshock-ish.
Yeah, I was looking at that because when I was putting the video together, well, you know what I realized? I didn't really go back and look at a lot of the trailers from last year. So when I saw that Clockwork, I was like, wow, man, that, because we were we were there and it was real hype. So there was sort of bits you missed because you were just too busy losing your mind about how good everything was. But when I watched that again, yeah, I'm pretty hyped to see that. That's a good one. Yep.
It's a huge jump for an Exile from like Wasteland to like a full-blown first-person shooter, though, isn't it? Like, it speaks to how good they really are. And if they keep that same level of sort of deep RPG mechanics, but in the first-person shooter sort of vein, it could be anything. It could be really special, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty hyped for a lot of stuff I'm sort of hyped for. So I'll just quickly go through because I did do a video, guys. You can go check that out. That's in the video section of the channel there. The ones that I think we'll definitely see. I think we're going to see, obviously, see Avowed. So it's too obvious. We're obviously going to see Indiana Jones. I don't think we're going to see Fable. My hope is that we do, and if we do, I want to see like an in-depth gameplay deep dive. But the reason I don't think that we're going to see that is because I think Fable will have its own direct, or if not, it'll be in that mid-year direct that we had, and they might do something similar for it. That's probably not going to be ready until I reckon February. It's very Aussie of me. I reckon February of 2025. So where they place it, I think it'll be just it'll be based on what they have ready at the time and where they can fit in a direct for it. I really hope they give it a direct. I think it deserves it. That's one thing I sort of wanted to talk about with the COD thing, but I'll get to that. I will definitely see. I'm hoping to see South of Midnight. That game, I think, will be something special. Just the tune, man. The tune. Like, again, I went through all these trailers for the video, and that tune is just, I love like some blues, and that is just a tune. I was like, yeah, this game's
everything about that trailer, bro. So that was amazing.
What are we wanting that to be? Do you want it to be like a first person? Or
no, it is
third person.
I think they've already told us that it's a third-person game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I missed that. Thank you, fellas.
I don't know if it's third person over the shoulder, but because of the third person thing, I think Xbox, hey, it's that just one. Shout out to COG. It's that we need some of those third persons in the library. And if South of Midnight could be that one, Compulsion isn't a studio that I get hyped about. Nothing that they've done has really piqued my interest. Wasn't a big fan of We Happy Few. Interesting ideas in it, interesting narrative, really, really good narrative, which is why I'm more hyped for South of Midnight. They've got a bigger budget, bigger team. They've even got a new studio, third person, hopefully over the shoulder, and they have said action adventure. I think that this could be the one that sort of, catapults them into, at least in my view, one of those studios that I look out for what they're doing next. So I'm pretty hyped, and I hope we see something from that. Contraband, we have heard, well, that game is probably pretty close to finished, I think, or at least at a point where you could show something. So I definitely think we're going to see that. Replaced, there was, I don't know if they've dropped a release date for that. I can't remember, but they did earlier this year say something about the development of it. They pushed it back again. But I'm super hyped. I'm with you in Paris, Blue. I'm super hyped for that one. Have been. It looks cool. 33 Immortals. I think that'll be cool. Probably won't be up my alley, but we've already seen that. State of Decay 3. It's definitely time. It's time to show something. And again, I'm with you, Blue. I wasn't a big fan of 1 and 2. I think they were right. They were cool to mess around in, but I think that there was just a bit of a, I don't know, there wasn't enough to the game to keep me there, and in some ways, the RPG elements, carrying around stuff, and being weighted down, it was annoying. So if they can refine a lot of their systems, it'd be very, very interesting to see what they do with that. We're definitely not going to see the Outer Worlds 2. Yes, it's time to see Perfect Dark, and I think with Embracer, in development with in conjunction with Amazon for Tomb Raider, I think that they'll be pushing the Crystal Dynamics team to get that project done. I think that pressure will come from the former Embracer, what's it now called, the Coffee Club, AAA, Lord of the Rings, Friends or something, whatever the hell it is. But I think they'll be pushing hard to get that studio back, in its entirety, so they can work on the Tomb Raider IP. because I think that'll be a big win for them. Everwild, I put it in the video. I hope to see it. I don't think it'll be there. But here's the ones that I really, really hope that I think could be. So you're talking about id software. They could very well be working on a new Hexen or a Heretic. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year Phil was wearing a Hexen t-shirt. So it could be. I think id is the studio to do Hexen. I think it was their IP originally, right? So that would be the what I would like to see come from id. And that would be an ABK like IP I would like to see brought back. One thing that we haven't talked, so Warcraft. I want another RTS Warcraft. Like when they made World of Warcraft, they stopped making RTS Warcrafts, and they were the original like best RTSs you could play at the time.
Bro. I loved them, bro.
Yeah, same. Yeah, my liege and all that stuff. Yes, sir. You know, you little peons. I loved it. Like, absolutely love that game. So if they could make another RTS, or if they could announce that they were bringing World of Warcraft to the console, I think that would be a big draw too. StarCraft's another one. So either a Warcraft or a StarCraft. And I think we're very likely to see a StarCraft in the next couple of years if we don't see it at this direct. But that would be one I would love to see coming back. One other thing I wanted to say on the showcase before we move on to the yes, we do have a couple more topics, but one thing I think I wanted to show on the showcase, I don't think that COD belongs in a direct at the back end of this show. And
I don't either. That won't make me excited and hyped. Like, give me COD, sure, but don't be like, boom, it's the biggest thing for us to see. I don't want it to be like you get the special 10, 15 minute. No.
Holly's in the background.
I'm just glad it's not in the main showcase, bro. Like, that's the thing for me.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of getting people hyped, right? For like, you want people to be like, I came in, you guys showed me this exclusive, well, we're saying exclusive here. We're back to that. I apologize, but yeah, COD, give it its own 15, 20-minute thing, but not in the main showcase as like the big thing.
Just because of how you're leading in, right? I mean, based on last year, you do all these games, some third-party stuff. You've got some hardware stuff, controller. You've got some of this, that, and the other, and then like that are all Xbox Studios or Bethesda Studios or whatever. And then you go into a big game that's coming from Xbox Studios. I don't think COD this is not the same audience you're trying to draw here. COD already has its audience. They're going to come watch that show. I think it's a separate thing. Like I 100% think that should have been separated. I still think COD should have its big thing, and you should make it known to the world that Xbox is COD, and that's why I understand they've put it at the back there. But I don't think I don't think it was the best way to tell the world that hey, COD, Xbox is the place to play COD.
What was the last trailer that we saw at the showcase last year? What did they end it with?
Starfield was the direct.
Was it Starfield? Okay,
yeah.
so
and it took up more time than the actual showcase did.
Right. So to me, like that, I don't want to see with COD. Like I think COD should have its own director thing because it's big enough. But like for your main showcase, it's not going to make people be like, oh, we waited 45 minutes or however long it's going to be, and that's the last 10 to 15 minutes. You want to see like that. Bam! Here's like where Perfect Dark is at, and here's a good 5 minutes of the behind the scenes and some of the gameplay or something like that. To me, I think you need that more so than the game that everybody's going. The people who love COD are going to buy COD regardless. They don't need a 15-minute direct for it. You got to get them hyped about something that's new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and exactly like you said, they're going to buy it anyway. They still want to see what's going on with it and have your own thing for it, but not at the back end. I don't think it fits at the back end where they've where they've put it, but. We'll see how it goes. Be interesting.
Dear God. Holly's disease is passing on to you.
Before we move into that next topic, guys, congratulations to Grim Jr., Palpatine, and Grey Maynard, guys. Super hyped for all of you guys. Really appreciate you guys coming to the show and supporting us. And we'll get those coins out to you as soon as possible. Please hit the like button. Share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday if you're in the US. If you are in Australia, it's 11 a.m. over on the East Coast, West Coast, Best Coast, where I live, 8 a.m. Next topic. I haven't scrolled down to it, so excuse me. Well, so the whole slate. Okay, so this sort of feeds into. So if you guys aren't on Twitter, and I know most of you are, but if you aren't, Jez Corden was having a chat, talking in his Discord, so his private Discord, and just discussing what the future of Xbox looks like. And someone decided to sort of not verbatim, but quote a lot of the things that he had said and put that out on Twitter and caused a big stir. I'll read out what the actual the tweet was, and then we'll sort of jump into the topic. Said in his Discord, Jez was more chatty. All Xbox first-party games coming to PlayStation, even Forza and Halo. Xbox will be more like Steam in the future. Affordable prices, sales, and more open for devs. Future Xbox hardware going to be for the fans who want it. Or more niche. Xbox hardware will be niche like Steam Deck. And the next Xbox will sideload Steam. I don't think they expect to ever grow in hardware. He said nobody wanted to give Xbox a chance, and this is what they get with a Sony monopoly. And I think he's very much he has said he's been taken out of context. And yeah, I think he's very much said he's been taken out of context. A few times, and with those quotes. James Thomas of the super chat, $2 super chat. Sorry, he said no Hollow Knight. Shake my head, sad face. Yeah, well, just so you know, James, they have actually rated that in Australia. They do it quite a bit ahead of time, but very recently, I think it was a few days ago, it's been submitted for ratings. So that tells you it's at least at a point where it can be submitted for ratings. So let's talk about this. So, I mean, again, no secret. So we've been talking about this side-loading, Steam, etc. for quite a while. And again, we had this conversation earlier in the show. But for me, if it is true that Forza and Halo is going over to PlayStation, knowing that Steam, Itch, Epic, and all of those stores are going to be available on a Windows like Xbox, where you have an Xbox back compat, and so you can retrieve your old library and that's protected, but you also have access to anything that Steam, Epic, and Itch or etc. has. That is not a big deal for me. That doesn't bother me greatly, I have to say. However, Jez has said this is not based on anything that he's heard. He said this is based on just what he thinks. I will say, and I did say, and I hate to say it again, the Hellblade 2 still stands. So I was a little bit like sort of vindicated, but he sort of retracted it. So I didn't jump out there on Twitter and say anything. But yeah, look, there is a Hellblade 2 port. It sucks, but it exists. But for me, again, as I said, if these things are available on Steam, if you can get to Steam, you can get to Epic, it sort of removes the issue for me. And I've got a library, so why do I care? Umbra, I want to jump to you and just sort of get your thoughts on this. With the access to Steam, Epic, if Forza and Halo went to PlayStation, how you feeling about that?
I still feel the same way I felt when the thought of that was happening before, and I was like, I'm not feeling that. Jez actually posted about that, and I replied, this wouldn't sit well with me. But now I think I'm more accepting of that if it is now, because again, with what I was mentioning early now, since I'm PCMR, personal console master race, that's what I'm calling it now. I've dubbed it over. So it's just my console experience away from console. But yes. What is that? It sounded like
it's your bot. There's your
Someone's
PC
got a
bot.
lightsaber or something, bro.
Sound like a Vader or something. Your lack of PCs are disturbing. But there you go. Yeah, man. No, I don't know how I would feel to that. I think like you have these tentpole games, you can't just bring them over to another platform like that. Obviously, PC is an exception, but it feels like if you do that, you kind of, it's already, the message is already out there where it's like, you need an Xbox. That right there pretty much ends that discussion once you start bringing over tent poles. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. Also, the optics of it, and if PlayStation isn't bringing their games over to Xbox as a trade, for instance, and they're both doing it, if they're both doing it, it's fine. If it's just Xbox doing it, I don't know how you can argue that anybody needs to stay within Xbox ecosystem. And maybe that's to my.
If you've got
Yeah.
access to Steam, that's like circumvents PlayStation even doing it, right? Because they're putting
True.
their games on Steam. So
True. Yeah,
at
but
that
then
point,
yeah, it depends on the people's mindset. Like I say, right? For me, I don't care anymore. I'm past it now. Really, I've kind of ascended past that. But I don't want to sound braggadocious. What's the problem, Holly? What's the problem, Riz? I mean,
Ascended.
what?
Ascended.
What's wrong with
Come
what? Listen,
So everybody thinks he's better than you now.
I didn't say anything like that.
That's what you said.
It's not what I said.
I've
Donte,
ascended.
see-
I'm on a higher plane.
Listen, you clearly haven't ascended yet. Otherwise, you would get it.
I have a PC, bro.
Listen, Donte
This is the
gets
monster that we have created.
No,
Okay,
not
Dante
we.
doesn't get
Hey,
it.
we
Doesn't-
didn't
He
bring
did
it
it
into
to
it.
himself.
Now I'm
Not even
blaming.
I
I'm
did this.
blaming Garuda. Yes, Garuda.
No,
it's
no,
your
no, no.
fault.
This
Yes,
ain't on
man.
me. Right.
It's
Do you
partially
hear
your
me
fault.
talk
Him
like
and
this?
Kay
You
Asante.
hear me talk like this, bro?
Oh, is it Kay Asante? I'm gonna have words to Kay Asante tomorrow about this.
Listen,
Like
listen,
I want back my Umbra.
listen. I am feeling euphoric now that I have ascended to
Preach.
the PCMR. I'm just,
Preach.
you know, it is what it is. Holly, you need to embrace it too. You're trying too hard to stay up to the console. You have a capable PC that's not quite as powerful as mine, but still, you know, pretty powerful.
Mine is the same as yours.
I just wanted to see what I wanted to see what she was gonna say. Yeah, that's right.
I just don't talk about it.
Oh, you had it like a shady side piece. That's just sad.
On PC, you can
can't believe
choose
you
which
said all that.
controller you want to use,
can't-
right?
I can't-
It's so good.
Okay, I believe so.
Yeah. I mean, now the Xbox is a superior controller, so I'm always gonna. But anyway,
Me too.
my thinking is, like I said, I used to feel like really strongly, like, man, you cannot bring the tent poles over there. I still kind of believe that's true. I think even if the case is that, you know, it circumvents with Steam being available, I'm thinking most Xbox console gamers are still going to feel away because they have a traditional mindset, and it's been something that's been ingrained into us for decades. Yeah, not even here. It started well beyond Xbox and PlayStation as far as exclusives go. So it's just a mindset that people have to get out of. Again, since I've ascended, I don't have this issue anymore. Holly, your eyes okay over there? Fix your face, huh? Fix your face. Oh yeah, that's right. Anyway, we'll talk to her after this show, Donte. We got to get some straightening going on with her. I don't know what's up with her lately. Anyhow, I'm sorry for this chat. She's been very uncooperative today, and giving Assassin material for his weekly edit. Anyhow, all the clips of her purposely doing this, then pretending she didn't mean to do that. Yeah. So now again, if they have the Steam situation, it's up to the Xbox fan base. If the Xbox fan base is going to get moved past this tribalism of saying, "Hey, this has to be here. It's us against them," you know, if they can move past that, it'll be an easy transition. I transitioned past that point.
You chose what?
That's
Sorry, what?
why I knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna do that. That's why I said. That's
You did what?
I knew you were gonna do that. But I've transitioned past that. I think Garuda is in the same boat. We've retransitioned together. Is
Hey,
that right?
don't put me in this, bro. Like, no way. No way. You can't do that.
How's the cupcake?
Listen, I was gonna say,
Cupcakes
yeah.
good?
How's the cupcakes going over there, Garuda? Huh?
Oh, no, I'm staying away, bro.
Yeah, I bet you
Look,
are.
they're good cakes, bro, but I value my
Yeah,
holes and stuff.
you value your cakes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my thinking, man. I just think that it's all up to the fan base. If they can adapt to that and say, hey, we'll be fine with those games going over, provided we get all those things with Steam and all of that. I don't believe they will. I think the tribalism and console warring is too ingrained into both sides of it for that to happen, but we'll see.
I'm sorry. I've completely lost my train of thought because you were just talking about transitioning. So, where were we talking about PlayStation games going to? And how do you feel about it, Blue? How do you feel about say Forza and Halo are slated to go over?
This chat's going off the rails.
How are you feeling about that? Like, is that an issue? Knowing, so let's assume that, like, Xbox does have availability for Steam and Epic and all that sort of all those PC sort of stores. Is that going to be something that is disappointing? Because I know that you didn't, like, you obviously were with us, but you didn't have as crazy as a reaction as I probably did. But you were disappointed, I think, at the time with the four games. But believing what we believe now, is this something that's going to really affect you?
Well, in a perfect world in the future, the next console will have the Steam side loader, and it won't matter at all where any game goes because you'll have access to all of the games, which is really, like, in a perfect world, that's what would happen, right? Like, you should be able to just go buy a console that you like, the way it plays, your preferred UI, your preferred controller, all of those things, be able to plug and play and move on with your life and not have any of this garbage about, well, I have to go buy this for this, I have to go buy that for that. And Nintendo will always be the outlier. It will never be on the same train. So we're not even talking about Nintendo. Let's just leave that off the table. But that world is awesome, and I want to live in that world. So I'm fine with it in theory. So I don't know, it doesn't super bother me in the fact that as long as I have access to an Xbox, because that's the system that I enjoy, and whatever form that's in, that's okay, as long as it's delivering the most capable experience comparable to any other platform on the market. Obviously not PC, right? Because that's just, you have to spend to get what you get with PC. But it's it's disappointing, but, like, you can't be the person going, get off my lawn, right? At the end of the day, because you're going to be left in the dust, and that's it. So you have to know how to pivot and still fight for all of the things that you've spent your money on, and the places
Transition.
and the conveniences that you want. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
the stages of grief, right? At first it's like, what? And then it's like, okay, all right. And now what does that actually mean for me? How bad is this actually? That's why it's careful. That's why it's important to always be careful about your reactions when something happens, and how much you react on it in the moment in public versus, what you feel like 2 days later. It's like in a relationship, right? You get in a fight with your significant other, and at the beginning it's like, blah. But then when you think about it, you're like, well, it probably wasn't how I actually felt, and I kind of feel bad about it. Right?
She's giving us
So-
details to her
I know,
behavior.
right? I know, right? We're
So
learning
so
some
you
things.
learn to not do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? You
Hold on
learn
quick.
to sit, wait,
Uh,
breathe, learn, like, figure out how you actually feel, and
Yeah.
then move on. Yes, this is from a
Mhm.
woman's perspective. Take
Document
notes.
that.
Everybody take
Yeah.
notes.
And then you make
Mhm.
up by
She responds in a very aggressive manner at first.
No,
and
I
later
don't. I don't because
Mhm.
because I don't want to have a meltdown and then be like, hey, remember when you had that meltdown? Be like, oh yeah, no, that was 2 days ago. It's fine.
Hey,
no
big
problem,"
head.
right? I don't want to have to apologize to anyone later, so I avoid that.
Sure, her way of not yelling at you, just isolate you and ignore you.
Yep.
I wasn't really mad.
Like it. Donte, jumping to you. Like, say we lose, we don't lose anything, I guess it's the wrong way to sort of phrase it. Let me reframe it. So say
And by the way, Halo
Xbox.
going to PlayStation, totally fine.
No, stop
Totally
it.
fine.
Halo, yeah, it's very.
That's she's doing that to piss me off. That's a dig at me, and you stop that right now. See, you just said you weren't that person, and look at you.
But
You
that's how I
stop that
believe
right now.
today still. It's 2 days
Okay.
later and I still think that.
You stop that.
We could keep the campaign, but give them multiplayer. Have at it. Go on. If you want to play that mess, go with it.
That I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Cut her mic.
My bad. Go ahead. Risky, what's your question?
Donte, you so let's say Halo does go over realistically. You know, you've got access to Steam, because I don't think they're going to do this until. This is silly to say because Xbox has got a habit of stepping on rakes, right? So I think it would be silly of them to be bringing games over to PlayStation without having something in the home camp to offer, like for instance Steam sideloaded or a new console, Windows, at least announced so we know it's coming, or at least a decent slate of games. You would need something, but let's say it's the Steam. It's a Windows, PC, Xbox. You've got it. It's announced. It's coming. Then they announced that Halo's going, Forza's going, Gears Collection's heading over. Everything's going whole slate. How are you feeling?
Well, personally, it doesn't impact me because, again, I play where I choose to play, which is within the Xbox ecosystem. But it kind of boils back to what we spoke about before, which is like you do need a reason for why people come to your platform. Now, like Holly said, if we get to a point where if both companies realize that, hey, with the ability to implement side loading games through Steam or Epic, and Sony's putting their games between Steam and Epic, so why are we even, in a sense, gatekeeping our games at that point, right? Why don't we just make our games multi-platform? Then it doesn't matter. What I do know is that I think it puts a lot of pressure on Sarah Bond because this is going to be like your first foray in terms of leading the hardware, right? And so whatever you put out as the product that is going to be the reason to get people to purchase an Xbox has to be pretty compelling. So like you can't come with something that like if it's going to sideload Steam games, it needs to be that those games are going to run well, right? They need to be properly optimized so that way they run and you're not going to have too much of a big difference versus if the game was specifically developed for console. And then it needs to be powerful enough for people to sit there and say, okay, this is why I'm purchasing this particular console versus just going to go purchase it and play it on PC or build a PC. So like big scheme, it doesn't impact me because again, I'm not someone who really, I'm not really gatekeeping games. It doesn't really impact me that much and stuff. I like the idea of having something that says this is why I bought the console, but at the same time, it's not going to hurt me if PlayStation fans can really play Halo. To me, it's more people who get to play one of the games that I love, and that goes for pretty much any game that I really enjoy. I just get concerned with the fact that I want the platform as Xbox to do well, and to me, for that to happen, people have to be willing to invest within the ecosystem. And I don't know, maybe they see something that we don't see. Maybe they're just kind of like, hey, if the games and the software is selling, which is what we make most of our money on anyway, it doesn't matter that much if people are not purchasing our consoles because people are buying and playing our games like crazy. If that's what they're seeing and their metrics point to that, cool. But as someone who likes to play on console, that's me being selfish saying, yeah, but I want to know that I'm still going to be someone that you look at as a customer, right? As a target to make something that's compelling for me, because then you are now pushing me to PC and kind of weaning me off the console. Like I said, I don't want to set my PC up in my living room. That's not the reason why my setup is the way it is. So, like yeah, everyone's saying a theme that I've been saying for quite some time now, especially for those who are kind of upset and still yelling about it on Twitter. At some point, man, we gotta adapt and kind of move on with it, right? They're not going to sit there and change their strategy right now because we're complaining about it as gamers, as fanboys for the Xbox platform. So if anything, you have to make a decision on if you're going to stick with the games that you've invested in the ecosystem and continue to be with Xbox, or if it bothers you that much that you're just going to go get a PC or a PlayStation. But whining about it at this point does absolutely nothing. It doesn't. It's not going to solve anything. It doesn't make you feel better as a person. We got to adapt. So I'm at the point where, show me what your plans are. Give us something compelling. keep the games coming. Like Garuda say, if you build the games, they will come. So keep the games coming. But my thoughts is all eyes are on Sarah and what her team is able to do. I really want to see what the next console is going to look like, because I think that is going to be like make or break for people who are kind of on the fence and thinking about just going PC and PlayStation, right? I think that's going to make or break the people who are still willing to purchase an Xbox hardware. So
Donte, I think that Phil Spencer's probably very relieved to be rid of that responsibility with the hardware. I think,
probably,
I think you're right. Sarah Bond has a lot to do there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump to you, Garuda, though. If it were to happen that Steam was available on the new Xbox and it's all sideloaded, you've got access to all the PlayStation games you do already as a PC player, and that's the strategy for Xbox. And look, it's at the moment, I think Xbox's rev was up 61%. That's almost solely due to ABK. 1% was Xbox, and the 60% was ABK. But hey, they had the foresight to buy the company. Hardware's down 31%. So knowing that all the metrics and what's been going on in the industry and the difficulties of AAA, and understanding that being in third place and they need to have growth, because they're not profitable, they just need growth, because that's any business, it's capitalism. And they bring out a console that's powerful enough that sideloads Steam. Do you have a problem with them bringing those temp poles over to PlayStation?
Yeah, so that's literally the only way that that I'd be cool with Xbox sending the full slate multi-platform, is if it worked both ways. Now, so far, we haven't really had that. So what we've had so far is Xbox sending games elsewhere with nothing in return for the Xbox gamer, which has been one of the things I've been very disappointed about. All right, it hasn't worked both ways. But if indeed the next system has Steam and Epic and GOG integration into it with no exceptions, I'm talking about Sony not removing their games from the equation, then that's the only way that I could accept seeing Halo on a PlayStation, is if I can play God of War on my Xbox. That is literally the only way, because then it's just all platforms have been opened up and there's nothing to complain about each way. Every platform's kind of the same. It just depends which ecosystem you like, which UI you like, where all your friends are, and where your library is, right? They're the only things that are going to differentiate platforms from that point. Oh, and services, of which Xbox is far ahead in services, ecosystem, UI, and just community, everything about it. So that would be like Xbox taking their strengths and finally using them, right? But the biggest hurdle to all of this is, I do think, like we were saying earlier, that PlayStation would push back heavily on this Steam integration. I think they would try to cut their games out of the equation, from Xbox, from them being played on an Xbox console. So that's where Xbox needs to kind of open their platform, so that it's like, well, we're not really an Xbox, so you can't really take these away. And Steam would not be happy about that either, I'm sure. So it's a really complicated situation. I think that there's a lot of intricate details that sort of need to be navigated in order for it to work. But yes, I'd be okay with it if it worked both ways. It's the only way you can do it. I mean, but then, like I say, then you make it the console war wouldn't be a console war. It'd be a services war. It'd be a UI war. Like, I want Xbox to have, it'd be a hardware war, but not so much about content games wise. More about what can the hardware do. What's the community like? What's the ecosystem like? What's the UI like to use? And what services are you offering me? Right? They're the things that we'd be competing on, and I wouldn't mind that, as long as it works both ways and it's not one ecosystem getting the shaft like it is right now. Okay, because that's kind of what's happening.
Is there anything they could do hardware-wise, Garuda, that can make you interested in terms of getting their hardware versus playing on PC?
Yeah, the handheld, bro. Yeah, the handheld would get me interested.
You want like a true handheld, or you want like a dockable thing similar to like the Switch?
it doesn't need to be dockable, because the way I do it here is I just have my PC on my TV, and really like nothing's going to outperform that. So there's going to be no points essentially for me to dock it. But I want a mobile handheld. It'll be okay if it is dockable, but I probably wouldn't use it that way essentially. But that would get me to buy the Xbox hardware again if it was a handheld one with all the features integrated into it, with Steam and everything like that. I'm in. You've got me. Okay, but yeah, I just think it needs to work both ways with the content. Otherwise, it's a big no-no. And Xbox has no right to complain about hardware sales at all if they go full slate without getting anything in return, because you're completely eating your own lunch. You haven't, you're having other people eat lunch. You know, you cannot complain about hardware sales if you're making your hardware completely irrelevant. Okay, so Steam integration, while I think it will be complicated, that's the thing to bring Xbox back to parity. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
I think the only thing that gets Sony to like that would move the needle for Sony to kind of adopt a similar strategy is if games that Xbox puts on their platform, if their software sales are starts to skyrocket, that they're realizing that they're leaving too much money out on the table, and Xbox is cleaning up within both, you know, Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. That's the only way that they'll say, wait a second, maybe we need to join them. But right now they're the market leader, so they don't have no reason to.
But Xbox is dictating the course of the way these console services, hardware.
So if they start to continue to see that, like, wait, look at these Xbox games who are dominating our top 10 or top 20, and you know we got some games that are doing well on PC, and you know we already know what PlayStation players do in terms of purchasing on the PC, the PlayStation side. But if they're like, man, could we have sold another 3 to 5 million from Xbox users if we put it there? That's the only way I can see them saying, we're gonna
exactly,
bro,
exactly. And another way, just quickly, to an example of how Xbox is really dictating the market at the moment, not just by virtue of the fact that they're so wealthy and they have the most content, etc. Have a look at how, and I know it's not really a topic, but just to touch on it, have a look at how Sony are about to force a Sony account on PC players for Helldivers 2 to fluff their numbers, right? To fluff their monthly active users for PlayStation Network. Xbox done that when they bought their games, their 4 games like Sea of Thieves and Grounded across the PlayStation, right? They go first. Sometimes Xbox goes way too early with their new moves, but PlayStation, they always follow. They always eventually do what Xbox does, just a lot further down the line. Okay, and now, you know, Xbox acts and then PlayStation reacts. Xbox dictates this market, so it's going to be interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, no, I'd agree, which is not a situation that you want happening when you're with the market leader. Smart market leader dictates the market at the same time so they can control it. Whereas I can see it's possible. Look, it's possible what you're talking about. I can see Xbox creating some sort of a choke point in a way that forces PlayStation to go, well, you know, like we're already, these games are already over here on Xbox. We can't get past this licensing agreement with Steam. We've already got the licensing agreement. We either pull our games back from PC, or we put our games over on Xbox. That's a choke point for them and a checkmate 4D chess for Xbox if they can get that done. But really, the only hurdle I see there is, again, PlayStation's pettiness, and I 100% agree. They're still petty until proven otherwise, right? Blue, you're going to have to say that it's definitely 110%. Like Sony is petty until proven otherwise, and we've seen a leadership change, but we haven't seen them prove they're not petty yet. So, and they may go after these licenses and see what they can do. So that's the only hurdle I can see for Xbox, and I know that there was a hurdle there. So it'd be interesting to see what they can and will do. Look, we're coming up on 2 hours, and that's probably, we've still got more topics, but we'll leave those ones on the table, I think, and we'll come back to them another time. You guys in the chat have been absolutely on fire and amazing, especially with Blue's little faux pas. It was great. I was the Stitches. I had to de-camera and de-mic for a little bit. So that was a good time. And we had some great topics, guys, in the panel. You've been amazing. Great takes. There's a lot to talk about this week, and we didn't get through it all, but we got through a good chunk of it and a lot of the stuff that I really wanted to talk about. So thank you for indulging me with the topics. Garuda, thanks for coming through. Really appreciate you getting here when you can. I know that you've got those 2 weeks on, those 2 weeks off. So you're back next week. So that's good to see. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to. And just a reminder to everyone in the chat, if you have not yet subscribed, followed, or anything to channels, Twitter, head down in the description. All the links are there. Click them, subscribe to them, follow them, do it. You're missing out otherwise. Garuda, how's your week looking?
Yeah, thanks, man. I've got a couple more days off before I go back to work. So, but yeah, I will indeed be back again next week. And thanks for having me on this weird schedule that I'm on. But yeah, I just love coming in and talking games. The Xbox news is ramping up. It's just going to be full steam ahead from now on. We're through that bit of a quiet news period that always happens at the beginning of the year. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up. For me, I'm going to give the modding a little bit of a rest because honestly, the last 2 nights I've dreamt about modding. I've dreamt about conflicts in my load order. Like I've literally woken up and I'm like, oh no, I can't do this anymore. So I'm going to continue playing Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes again. It's just so nice, so relaxing, such a beautiful game. And yeah, man, I'm just gonna keep enjoying games. There is so much to play. I just want to quickly say, anyone who's going with this narrative that gaming is in this rut, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry, pardon the French. I don't know what you're talking about. My limited gaming time, is dominated by this ever growing backlog of amazing games that I want to get to. So you're doing something wrong if you can't find something to play, man. So yeah, thanks again for having me,
great.
guys. Yeah, it's always good.
I agree.
No, it's good to have you. But to add to your point, like what dropped on Game Pass the other day was Have a Nice Death, which is a little roguelike. And I played like a couple of minutes just to get a feel for it because I still got to get through Tomb Raider, still got to get to Zhao. So I'm 3 deep now because I want to play that too. And there's so much coming. There's so much on Game Pass. There's so much like just coming down the pipe. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's complaining about gaming being in a rut. I think you're a very niche. What I would say is a very niche gamer.
There's just something wrong with you, man. If you complain about that, there's something wrong with you. Like, sorry.
Agreed. Donte, another fantastic week. Thanks. Come back through and giving us your takes on the showcase up and coming. And I look forward to hearing both you and Blue's takes when you guys get to the showcase this year as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Please let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to. Please talk about the Boozy Box Office podcast, which is on Spotify currently.
Yeah, Spotify, Boozy Box Office podcast on Spotify. You can catch me on Twitter, Donte J Booty, and on Xbox, Spriggan113. I will be on Kay Asante's show tomorrow at I think it's 7 a.m. my time, so 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to come check us out on that, and obviously catch me here on Fridays, man. But Garuda, you hit on it ahead, man. I've seen a lot of posts this week or over the last few weeks in terms of how disappointed people are with this generation or in gaming in general. I'm kind of like, I'm more disappointed in gamers more so than I am with games. There's been a lot of good stuff out there that my backlog has been hard to get to, just like you mentioned. So I just wish people would kind of embrace the love of gaming so much as instead of embracing the love of complaining on social media and Twitter all day. So, but yeah, man, it's always great to see the chat and panel. You guys are awesome in the chat. It's one of the best chats. So I always love coming and chatting up with you guys during the week. And panel, as always, you guys all the best. Catch you guys next Friday.
Absolutely. And yeah, Pyro just said there, just quickly was saying, Garuda, I'd say AAA Gaming is in a bit of a rut, not the gaming in general, releasing unfinished, unpolished messes at overbloated prices. I know that that's a thing, but if you look back down the line at game releases over the years, this is not a new problem. It's just something, it may be a little more prevalent, but it's not that much more prevalent, I think, these days. And when you look back where we started, which was Pong, to here, man, we got it pretty damn good. Blue.
The only thing I'll say that I don't like, sorry, just quickly, is I think they've got to work out how to turn, like, say, a sequel around quicker than 7 or 8 years. That's the thing.
I agree. Development time it has to be shored up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll get there with AI, but that's a topic for another week. Blue, another fantastic week. Let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, how your week's looking, and go.
Yeah, I'll be keeping my mouth shut for a whole week. And I'll be actually not on Renegade Realm on Tuesday nights, which you can normally find, and you should still go watch them Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Central, which is 6 p.m. Eastern.
Mhm.
Very good, very good. They're funny. And then I will be packaging up all of these coins. These Hellblade coins will go out just before the game releases. So if you haven't gotten it yet, please understand. Well, if you're in another country, it's going to take a little extra time. And then if you are in the US, you should be getting them like right around when the game releases, hopefully, just a day or two before. So just be patient, please. Um, Otherwise, I think I'll be back in town for the show next week here. And then yeah, so thank you. I'm ThatBlueNumber everywhere, and hey, thanks.
Umbra, another fantastic week. Let people know where they can find you, where you'll be up to, what you got planned, and how the fix is looking.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I.
You saw me reaching for the.
I had to do that for Gray. I saw him post that earlier. Anyway, no, good show. Thank you guys in the chat for being here with us, holding us down. Thank you, panel. Of course, much love to you guys. Riskit, you did an okay job. As far as where you can find me, Twitter, X, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, you'll find me either way. Tuesdays on the Xbox Factor with Boom, myself, Crazy Louie, and Jamie Moran now. That's at 12 o'clock Eastern. Obviously, my show, The Fix, on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then, spin the block, as they would say, and come here Fridays at 8 o'clock Eastern for the Infinite Podcast.
Back to back in the same week.
Back to back. I feel euphoric.
Back.
This is Black culture, Riskit. You stay out of this. No, I'm joking. Later, guys.
Yeah, no, it was another fantastic week, guys. The show has been absolutely amazing, hilarious to watch. And I ran the show off one screen this week, which is unusual for me. Normally I use three, so it went all right, I think. And I had a little bit more time to sort of engage and stuff. So maybe I'll make it a thing. Guys in the panel, you're absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to these awesome games that are coming out. Really excited to see what happens. Looking forward to Hellblade 2 coming as well. So that's going to be interesting. And we will see you all next week. Don't forget to head down below in the description, click the links and stuffs and follows and the peoples and the subscribe and then the I'll see you all next week.
Peace.